Alright, SLEAZE again, and we've got Story 3, The Dark Within. Again, we're going to play this solo, and from this and past videos, you may have seen or noticed a few different ships here in the lobby. That was one of the things that you could do with some of the Glimmer or in-game cash system, was to buy different ships solely for the purpose of showing off in the lobby. So anytime I had money, it was either this or emblems, you know, those kind of things, or spamming the Cryptarch, trying to get better weapons out of that guy in the tower. So again, in these story parts, you're getting spawned into kind of this open world environment, and you've got to follow your navigation to figure out kind of, you know, where to go or what direction to head in. So again, right at the beginning, not wasting too much time dealing with enemies. It's just spawn the sparrow, get on it, and get the hell out of there. Now, late in the beta, in the last couple, 2-3 days of the beta, there was this problem right at this section here. Watch the player get hitched up and glitched here, right there. We had this thing where if we were partied up and one person was the leader and you went through that at a normal speed, you would just get stuck in this loading screen where the sparrow would freeze. And so we had to learn to kind of save the thrust late in the beta for that section and to push forward, and that's why you saw me do that in that part right there. It was a little strange. Wondering if anybody else had that issue. By this point, you know, third character, fully ranked, you know, the upgradable weapons for this character, pretty used to what needed to be done. And here's why I hate this fucking auto rifle with the high rate of fire, man. It just, when you really do go full auto, it bounces all over the place. And the only way really to shoot this gun is to single shot or almost kind of burst fire it in some way in order to try to control the fucking recoil. GOZEN-C for the sniper. It was upgradable, it was nice, and appropriate for this difficulty and this level of character. I think the attack at this time was maybe 62 once it was upgraded fully. The heavy weapon at this point, you can see the slot for it down with a little orange flame at the bottom left of the screen on the little heads-up display thing there.
We're in.
That gun was the Sargon-C, which was a heavy machine gun, and I really enjoyed that gun. It was fun to use and fun to shoot. Okay, so respawn restriction, when you see these things during the beta, you see me kind of wander into these areas and say that. For those that didn't play or didn't bother with the beta, it just means that for this section, starting at this point here, if you are solo and you go down, or if you're in a group and you die, you know, everybody dies out, then you would be reset to this point and you'd have to redo the level, basically, based on the checkpoint that you're at. So that's what this respawn restriction means when we hit those areas during some of these clips here. Now, I found that staircases were great. If you were having trouble and getting rushed, you could back up to a staircase and go down it and control the enemies that way. Here, these rushing thrall, this is why you go full auto with this gun at this point, because getting rushed pretty good, and you just mash the trigger and hope for the best, and that one of them doesn't get in there and claw you. And so when you get away with it, yeah, you're gonna fire in an extra little dance session as well. So one of the aspects about the Destiny beta and the things that I enjoyed about Destiny was partly what you hear here, which is the use of music during a specific battle or section, where they're kind of heightening the experience and pumping it up with a soundtrack. Very much reminds me of really old school kind of stuff. If you've gone back and played stuff like Castlevania and dealing with bosses and stages and certain parts where a certain song would play, or it would, you know, have its own soundtrack for that portion of the game, that's kind of what this reminds me of for, you know, being a non-Halo player. So it's part of the entertainment of the game. It's part of the appeal of the game, is the use of music and where and when it stops and ends. So this is the last part here, and the wizard that was mentioned is kind of the semi-boss for this part here. Those are interesting enemies. They move around a lot. They're floating and levitating around and stuff. But we'll we'll get a shot or two on that guy here in a little bit. So yeah, here's this
The wizard's here.
high rate of fire automatic rifle having to be shot like a semi-auto or a burst rifle, just in order to even have a chance to control the recoil. But that's the nice thing, is if you spend time with different guns, you know, I used auto rifles, I used scout rifles, I used pulse rifles in the primary category. If you spend enough time with it, you can get used to it, and you can figure out how to use it and be effective with it. So you guys have seen a lot of auto rifle play so far, but I think later on, maybe during the strike or something like that, there might be some different rifles that get picked up and used. I think the scout possibly gets picked up, so a little semi-auto stuff. And I think I have the pulse maybe on one of the strikes, so there's a little bit of pulse action with that burst style of firing. Do enjoy the hunter melee. There's a complete knife fail there to make up for that lucky one I hit just earlier. But here's that wizard, and I think it took a couple of shots here, caught him there, but then that one, second one, got him pretty good. We're gonna have to slow that one down in slow motion and really kind of see what happens when that guy gets hit like that. So story 3, the Dark Within,
get moving.
a pretty enjoyable story part. It was here where you didn't have any cutscenes or cinematic parts attached to the beginning or the end of it. You know, you couldn't go back and do the tutorial. The story 2 part had that long cutscene at the end of it that just made it painful. So this was one of the ones, along with story 4 and 5 and the strike, that I would, you know, really play in addition to the explore levels and some of the stuff that you could do in the explore levels. So we're going to move on to story 4, which I think is the Warmind. A little bit longer playing that one solo, but should be interesting. So thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.